everybody. I'm back, and it's Thursday, August 29th, and one more day after today of the trading week and the trading month. So this is going to be good for a lot of stocks if they can maintain levels, and that's what I'm kind of going to talk about for you guys today. So just going to start off here with the QQQ. Oh, good morning, Anna. And just the daily chart on the QQQ, you can see that all it did is to retest the support here. And that's basically what I've been saying before I even left, right? It was going towards the top of the cloud and it probably wanted to go down to the 470s. I think I did say that on Tuesday or Monday, right? And that's basically exactly where it wicked through, went down to the 467, and now it's back maintaining the bottom of the cloud, just doing exactly what the math was saying that it wanted to do. So no surprises at all with the QQQ. One thing I wanted to point out, though, is there's the 50-day moving average. Price is still below that now, that green line here. So what that really means is if it goes back up to 474 to 476, I think that could be resistance. So it might be just in a tight range for the rest of the week or the rest of the month, which is the same thing, right? So just keep an eye and make sure it just holds these levels, I think. But what's important, though, is this weekly candle close. It still never even got even close back down to its conversion line there for the QQQ. So no matter what, it's looking like it's going to be a really nice weekly candle close, which means it's going to be a nice monthly candle close for the QQQ. So whatever fear was out there yesterday, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Like you have 3 explosive monster weeks in a row, basically, and then 1 week that's down currently 1.8%. Who cares, right? There's no need to panic in that kind of situation. It's just a normal back test, right? And all it was doing was back testing the daily levels so far. Now, if it keeps getting rejected with this upper resistance, then it might go lower, right? Down to the lower 460s or so. So that's one thing to pay attention to. But overall, there's no technical damage at all. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. NVIDIA, please. Oh, yes. NVIDIA. Let me just take a look at the SPY first. Haha. Yeah, SPY daily chart held support perfectly. 4-hour chart, it's starting to open candles below, right here. But the pre-market is actually up here. So basically, that could be a good sign that it might want to go back above this conversion line on the 4 hours. So that's good. And the weekly chart still looking really good for a weekly candle close near the all-time highs. Right, you can't really complain about SPY at all. So it's going to look like a good monthly close and a good weekly candle close. So now it's NVIDIA time. We'll go here, and yeah, let me. Yeah. Try to adjust some things here. All right. So essentially, NVIDIA on the weekly chart, this is really all you need to know. And it's still way above a lot of support. And if you remember when Kat and I had our live stream, I said there's so much confluence at 113. And yeah, I mean, basically it went down to like what, 116.15, whatever last night, maybe even lower. I don't remember. But that support should have held anyways. Like even if it went down there today, I think this zone is going to be support, and all it would be is just a successful breakout. But now pre-market, it's looking a little better here, just up 21.43. Let me go to my other NVIDIA chart here so we can see better things here. And yeah, so the reason why I said like the 110 to 113 is because of that conversion line and my angle down here below as well. And how low did it get yesterday during the 4 hour? Yeah, it got down to 115, right? So almost that level, which was no surprise at all. Just a quick liquidation down there, but price could inevitably still drift a little bit lower. When we look at the 4 hour Ichimoku, it's kind of telling a story here that it's getting closer to its resistance now, right? So if price gets up to maybe the 122s to 123s or even a little bit above, it could start to roll over and maybe go back and retest levels. So that's one thing that previous support that you see here on the 4-hour is now kind of looking like a resistance zone. So that's one thing to look at for throughout the day. But no matter what, the high time frame weekly close, it's going to be good and it's going to be fine. And that means the monthly candle close is going to be fine too. So the trend is still up and the trend is your friend. So any kind of dips that come back to this zone, 113, 110, or a little bit below, I think that's a fantastic opportunity. And let's see here. Let me just, let's go over some Tesla first. And Tesla is perfectly fine, right? I was expecting it to maybe stop sooner, right? With those moving averages in the way, right up there, the 50 and the 100. But no, it just wanted to go retest the baseline of the Ichimoku on the weekly chart. And that's exactly what it did yesterday. It just wicked through it, then closed above. And now today it's above pre-market. But the important thing is what I really wanted to focus on. Sorry. That next week, if price closes around here, excuse me. Yeah, sorry, my throat. If price closes around here, then or like right around maybe 208, 209, 210, that zone, then next week it'll open up in the cloud, right? And that's a good thing for price to continue opening up in the cloud because it did open up in the cloud this week, but it just went down and then now it's going to open in the cloud and then be in this range, right? It'll be cloud range and that'll be fantastic. And that could mean that it could eventually maybe drift down back to the 198, I guess. But I think if this baseline holds as a support, the 204.90, which basically it did yesterday, even wicking through it, and today it's up 208. Then I think there's a really good chance of price. This will be the bottom, and price can continue higher. So we'll keep an eye on this. But opening in the cloud and drifting lower is still not a bad thing because it's still above that 198. It's still in the cloud. It's still just a breakout and a back test, and nothing bearish at all. Yes, it did go lower than I expected, but all of this is opportunity in my eyes. It is nothing to fear. It just looks really, really good. That all it did got rejected up here, went down here, found support, and now it's in a range trying to build a new base before it wants to go higher. And before I forget, could you check out SGMO? Sangamo Therapeutics. Look at this weekly chart. Yeah, it's holding its support there on the weekly chart, but it's getting rejected at the same time. So it's been battling the cloud here. I think what's really important is just holding that 77-cent level. If it starts to close weekly candles below it, then it could just drift lower. And if you look at the really high time frame structure here of everything, it just keeps trending lower, right? The only benefit of this chart is that it's trying to get in the cloud and it's building a base right here, right? It didn't make a lower low. It went up and it held, right? This low held, did not make a lower low. So this could be a reverse of the market structure for a possible continuation higher. So that's what I like. And I do like that it's on the top side of both, but it's been on the top side of both before and then drifted lower just to retest the lows. So this is a okay chart as long as these lows do not get broken down here in the 34s, 33 cents. So that's something to look at. Yeah, I can take a look at maybe ORAI. Some crypto. Yeah, so ORAI, overall market structure is still really fine. Even if I just take this off, you can see that it just went exactly where it needed to, straight up to the orange level and then back down, right? That was the time to take profits, right? Right up here in this zone, especially it came back up. It even warned us again, it's going to go lower because it got rejected there at $17. And then there it went all the way down. So I think it's in the bottoming process. Like a lot of things, I still think they're in the bottoming process. And this looks like that angle kind of wants to hold, right? And I think it could go a little bit lower, maybe back down to $5 or so. But I think that could be the max pain of it all. So I just, yeah, this kind of structure is fine. just a breakout and a back test of all these lower levels. And I think this level was really important because when you like look down here to the left, you have like a lot more candles here in this zone. And up here, there is really no support up here, not much support. So it went a little bit lower. So it's fine. And quant QNT. Well, let me just go to my QNT chart. Yeah, so quant, just looking at the market symmetry, it found its support at that angle, right? Which, when you look to the left, it was a perfect bottom with this range as well. So now it's just battling all the resistance above, starting with the ARK and then the next level and the next level. And then you have the Ichimoku cloud on top of that, which is battling still this week with the 6590 conversion line. So if it can close the week above that, then I think it has a chance to break through levels above. But I think that was the bottom regardless. So it's just building a new base to continue higher. And let me go to OKTA post earnings. Yeah. So OKTA here, post earnings, looks fine, right? It maintained support pretty well. It essentially just broke. It broke out, then back tested the cloud, and the cloud held perfectly as a support. And now it is right battling the 9709 level right there. So I think there's a chance for it to maybe even come back down to the 93s or so, maybe a little bit below. But if it can close this week back above it, that'll be 2 weeks in a row. Then that's a possibility to keep building a base to go higher. So I think watch that level 9709 for the weekly candle close. Yeah. Good morning, Matt without cat. EOS chart looks so good. Cup and handle on the 1 year. What say you? Yeah, EOS. Yeah, EOS essentially looks like really bullish on the weekly chart, right? It's in the cloud again. It's got all the support. The worst case, maybe even 196. If that ever broke, then maybe even the 158 again. But if you look at the daily chart, it just keeps on holding support so well right here. And now it's even battling the baseline, or sorry, the conversion line, but pre-market it's up 235, so it's kind of having a positive reaction off of that support. So that's good. As long as it maintains 100% bullish on the daily chart, I think it can keep continuing higher to the orange level above, which currently sits around 290-ish. Yeah. And Upstart. Yeah, Upstart. We talked about this, Kat and I, on the live stream on Tuesday as well. And we said that it had the potential to get up to the 42s, or at least I did. I'm not sure what he said. I think he said something similar. Yeah. And that has been hit, right? That has been hit. And this week does close on Friday, just like every other week. And this is at resistance, right? It really is at resistance. And it is up pre-market, but I think it's just battling this previous zone up here, right? These wicks up here, these candles. So yes, it can go a little bit higher, but I think it still might get rejected up like in the 40, let's see, 44s, 45s, maybe. And it has a potential, the possibility to still close below the cloud later on. So just pay attention to that. But even if it does close above the cloud, like maybe at 44, 45, you still have the resistance of these candles here. So I'm not going to get too excited yet until maybe there's like 2 consecutive weeks above the cloud. And then that'll probably confirm that it wants to go higher. But kind of want to see it battle this and close higher than maybe 48, 49, just to see if it can have that momentum to continue higher. But it is at resistance. So just got to keep an eye on it. Oh, Alex, the ultimate ADS warrior. Why is crypto market mostly red, but ADS is up 25% in 7 days, huh? Well, you just like to talk about ADS, huh? Yeah, ADS is at resistance still. Nothing has changed since last time I think we talked about it. I think last week, or earlier this week. I can't remember. And yeah, it's just right there. It's getting rejected by the angle above, and it's getting rejected kind of by the baseline. So lots of resistance in this area, and we'll see where the week or the month closes. But currently, it's kind of stuck, right? So we'll see if it has the potential to close above the cloud, flip the cloud to support, and then continue much higher. So one step at a time, but it is doing very well on this high time frame, and I kind of want to see a weekly candle close above that 1629. If that's the case, then I think it can start to possibly build a base for higher, higher, higher. All right, Microsoft. MSoft. Yeah, so Microsoft here, still kind of under resistance. It's one of the other few that could not get back above its previous support. So I think what's really most likely here is possibly just more weakness compared to the broader market, simply because that this conversion on baseline 426.97 has been rejected back here on the week of the 19th, right? And now this new week, yeah, price is continuing up, but I think as long as it stays under 426, it's gonna experience weakness compared to the broader market. So just got to pay attention to that on the high time frame. And on the daily chart here, you can even see that weakness even further, right? It's still stuck under a lot of the indicators of the daily Ichimoku. So I think there's really no rush until maybe the daily chart starts to look a little bit more bullish. But yeah, Microsoft is just underperforming right now, but it had a massive move. So even in going back down to the cloud here in the low 400s or high 300s, I think that's not a big deal for market structure and is perfectly healthy for a continuation higher later on in the future. All right. Good morning, Matt. Big swing in the aftermarket for Tesla. Yeah, we can take a look at Tesla one more time before it opens. Yeah, it's at 208. I mean, I talked about it already, but the bottom line is just needs to hold that 204.90 at the end of the week, and I think I'd like it to close a little bit higher. Even better would be above that 213, and that 213 is so special. So I see a question here. Where do you see Ethereum long-term targets? Mind sharing some long-term? Well, I'm not really going to share any long-term targets on Ethereum simply because it's below a lot of levels currently. And just if it's still stuck under a lot of resistance, just sharing long-term targets doesn't make any sense right now. So what I'm going to do is just show you the weekly chart of Ethereum and show you that weakness, right? The weakness is it's now stuck under a lot of resistance. And that resistance is clearly from 2,800 all the way up to 3,100. And it's on the bottom side of that Ichimoku. And when was the last time it was on the bottom side of that Ichimoku? It was kind of back here, but it was still maintaining a lot of like levels, right? But here it already made a lower low from here, right? So it went here, that was your support, then it flipped it to a resistance, and now that zone right here, this zone, previous support, now resistance. So that's adding more confluence that price kind of wants to just stay stuck for a while. So just mentioning higher time frame, what doesn't really make sense until it starts breaking this resistance again and flipping it back to support. So the levels to really watch for that is getting maybe back above 3,000. Getting back above 3,000 will slowly lead to higher prices, and then we can talk about future higher price targets. But right now, it's just stuck. Steven, thanks, Matt. Everyone give him a thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Levels is a good song by DJ Avicii. Yeah, that is a good song. Okay, so what else we got going on? Yeah, so the NASDAQ futures, they're up. The S&P futures, they're up. Everything is kind of up right now pre-market. We'll take a look at ARKK just to see how that week is coming along. Yeah, and there's really nothing out of the ordinary for ARKK. Look at that. Last week hit resistance. This week hit support, right? Like all you needed is the Ichimoku cloud to tell you that there's no panic necessary. Resistance support, it was just like a ping pong, right? Just up and down, up and down. So that's what a lot of things did. They hit their resistance and then they hit their support. So that's why I just don't like to listen to news narratives, because the charts tend to tell the real story. And I like in phase a lot, right? In phase, look at that weekly chart. Above a lot of things, above my GAN blue level there on log scale, 118, 117. It's going to be a good monthly close. Hopefully it doesn't tank and just go below those levels, right? But so far so good with N phase. This is one step at a time, and this massive resistance here is finally looking like it wants to get to support. So I love N phase right now, even though it's still not making higher highs, right? You can see the downtrend still, like lower high, lower high, lower high. Doesn't matter, right? Because everything else with the GAN and the Ichimoku, it's just getting more and more bullish as the weeks go by. And eventually, when it gets on top of the Ichimoku cloud, then some excitement will appear, right? Just like we saw in some PayPal. It got above the Ichimoku and then it kind of took off. So I think N phase is in the early stages of that. But every week it just looks better and better. The chart guy. And oh yeah, I wanted to go over SMCI because SMCI just had a very bad day yesterday. Did it not? But all you need is this chart. And I've been telling you about 150, right? Or 550 for a long time. And I've been for weeks actually. And I actually warned you with the time it closed under here, like this needs to hold, this needs to hold. And now it's not going to hold, right? This week is making a lower low and it's not going to hold. So my minimum target now for SMCI is 370, right? Even down to the arc there at like 340. That's my minimum target for SMCI now. So if it gets to 340 to 370, I will probably buy a lot, because that is just a perfect backtest of market structure and symmetry from this angle. Boom, right? And I'll be really excited if it gets there. So that will be a great opportunity that will still maintain a bullish market structure, because look, it just had a massive breakout and all it did is retest a previous zone before it broke out. And that is not a bearish situation. High time frame. I mean, yeah, if you bought up here, I mean, I started buying some up there too, but I haven't bought in a while, but that's why I'm excited to buy a lot more down here. So I think essentially what's really important to know is that price loves to backtest previous levels before they break out. And this is exactly what it's doing. So there was just that negative news narrative to push it down there. So even if price comes back up to the 550, I think that's going to be resistance now and it's going to roll over. So I think I'm really not sure, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to get hit, right? Because it just stopped a little bit short yesterday. Didn't quite make it. So I think there's still some room to go, maybe next week or the week after, to finally get down there. So that's what I'm looking for SMCI. All right. What do you think of QSI? QS. It says QS, right? Or QSI. Oh. Yeah. QuantumScape Incorporated. Yeah, this one doesn't look good. It's making lower lows. You don't even need anything else. You can just look at the market structure and see that it keeps making lower lows. So this is the definition of a falling knife, right? Like, look at that. Over the high time frame, it still has not made a higher high, really. So essentially, if price ever got back up here to the 115 zone, I think that's a pretty serious resistance level now, because of the previous support, flipping it to a resistance and maybe continue lower. But yeah, charts like these, you don't even need any indicators because just looking at the market structure, it's lower lows. I don't like charts with lower lows because then that's just trying to predict a bottom. And when you try to guess a bottom, you're just gambling. And I think that is not necessary when you can find charts that are actually holding levels and support and going perfectly with the symmetry of the market. Let's take a look at AMD here. Let's see how the month is going to close. Yeah, it's going to close below all this resistance, right? All that resistance. So monthly candle close, it's going to be just in a range for GAN. But when you look at the Ichimoku, it's looking like it's going to hold the baseline, right? So as long as it holds 140 on monthly candle closes in the future, I think it can build a monthly base to continue higher. So probably going to take some patience with that one, but that was a nice wick below support. And now it closed, or not yet. There's still 2 days left, today and tomorrow, right, for the monthly candle close. So as long as it stays above 140, I think there's a really good chance for a continuation. So this is a good chart for AMD, pretty close to a support level. And let's see, anything else going on today? The market opens in 2 minutes. Let's take a look at Amazon. Yeah, Amazon looks like it's going to close the month pretty nice, right? We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. 172.01, that's that conversion line. If the month closes above it, has a good opportunity to continue higher. So we'll keep an eye on that, right, for the next 2 days for Amazon. And one more quick at some markets here. I'm going to take a look at QQQ. How's that looking on the 4-hour? Yeah, it's also looking like it's kind of at resistance, right? Not sure how much positive price action will come out today for QQQ. Or, well, SPI has actually recovered pretty nicely. So SPY looks like it could continue up to the higher candles up here, maybe like 562 or so. So we'll see. But yeah, it's back to flipping things to support. So that's a good thing to see for SPY. And let's look at the IWM. Yeah, 4-hour on the IWM looks like it wants to continue higher too. Looking pretty good, right? That's above that support. And it just opened that new 4-hour candle right above the conversion line. So that's a good sign that there's a possibility it wants to continue higher to maybe the 221s. I mean, if it can close the week above 221, maybe 221.60 or so, I think that'll be a really good chance to continue higher because that would also be a monthly candle close above it too. So let's pay attention to that 221 zone for IWM going into the monthly candle close tomorrow. And SMH, yeah, SMH had some damage yesterday, obviously. And essentially it's at a pretty close resistance spot. Like 241 is looking like resistance up there, or maybe even 243. So could be some more weakness there, or underperformance, I should say. So nothing to really get excited about for semiconductors right now. But IWM and SPY still look pretty good. Yeah. And I think the market just opened, so we'll take a final look unless anybody has any more questions about stuff. But yeah, ARKK is up 61, ARKG up 32. Palantir is green, right? That one's still stuck under resistance though. And yeah, Tesla is up to 210 again. If Tesla closes the week at 213, I think that's time to get excited. So that'll be a fantastic monthly candle close. So let's pay attention to 213. And everything that happened yesterday, it doesn't matter because that was support, right? If I was on X, I would be saying, yes, this is great. But I was busy yesterday, so could not. And let's see. Yeah, we'll show. Do I have one for render? Not right now. I do have it on my Patreon though. I do share render every day. So if you wanted to see render, just sign up. But currently, I don't know why it's not showing up here. But render is basically still stuck under some resistance. But I think the GAN does look pretty good. Just got to go to the Patreon to find out. Right here. There it is. Well, I think that will be it for today. And essentially, everything is just doing what it should be doing. Bitcoin as well. I'll just close with Bitcoin here. Yeah, on the daily chart, it's just still stuck under resistance. But look, it didn't even get down to the bottom end of the daily range. So anybody panicking about Bitcoin losing support, the lower support on the daily chart still never even got hit. So Bitcoin's fine. And the Bitcoin miners, they're just going to follow suit as they are doing right now. So nothing really technically damaged at all with yesterday. Just a normal day in my eyes, right? Everything was normal. So that is it for today. Just keep an eye on those levels, and I'll see you tomorrow for the monthly